A little bit more about communication. So if you haven't been doing open source for a while, you might wonder, well, what's the difference between all these different channels? So I've summarized, a mailing list is good for asking questions and building consensus. But you don't really want to, report bugs to a mailing list because they get sort of lost. It's chronological and you forget about them. So that's why we have issue trackers. In an issue tracker, you can put in your bug, and it gets a ticket number, and you can assign it to someone. You can make a priority, and people who are trying to fix those bugs can go into the issue tracker and see, we have 10 outstanding bugs, and here's the priority. I'm going to start with that one. If you do it on a mailing list, it's sort of hard to prioritize and organize. A wiki is really good for capturing, brainstorming, and documenting the project. So a mailing list is good for discussing and sort of getting your ideas out, but then you want to capture it and solidify it and make it tangible. So then you take all that discussion on the mailing list and you put it in a wiki where people can then riff on it and edit it. In IRC, how many people here regularly hang out in the Plone IRC channel? Raise your hand. Okay, for those of you who are not raising your hand, do not leave this conference before you've talked to someone about how to set up an IRC client on your computer and get in the channel, because it's one of the most useful support mechanisms in place in the Plone community. I mean, there's so many people that are on the channel, ready and willing to help, and that's you're gonna find that once you start hanging out in IRC, when you come to these conferences, you're gonna you're lurker, and we should really have our IRC Nicks right here. There should be an IRC Nick spot right there. Because I know some people only by their IRC nickname. I've never met them in person. I don't know their real name. I just know their nick. So, it's a great place to meet other people who you may never meet face to face, but you get to know the pulse of the community. You get to know the people. And like I say here, it's a really good place to give your project a sense of presence. Because mailing lists are asynchronous. You send a message and you wait, and then maybe a day or two later you get a message back. On IRC, you type a message, and if there's people in the channel, you get a response like that immediately. So it's like you're in the same room. We're in this room, and I'm asking Voldemir, hey Voldemir, so what are you doing for podcasting these days? What? BMC TV, great. So Waldemir's working on a project with BMC Software. It's one of the largest software companies in the world. They're using Plone, and he's doing some really cool podcasting stuff with them. You may not know that if you didn't come to this conference or you weren't hanging out on IRC. So there's a lot of information that gets communicated on IRC that never makes it to the mailing lists. You only find out about things if you're on IRC. Okay, I've talked enough about IRC. Yep. What about a lightning talk? I'm not going to do one, but if someone else wants to talk about IRC. I'm already giving one lightning talk. I don't know if I want to do two. There's lots of people that know IRC here that can easily give a lightning talk about IRC. So recruiting. One thing I found is that good developers, they love challenges. More than anything else, they love a good challenge. And the other thing I found out is developers, they mostly work in isolation, like in basements with very few lights and, kind of sitting in their underwear, crunched over their laptop, And everyone is social. We're all social beings. We want to be with other people. We want a sense of community. And being a part of a project is a way to find that community. And the Plone community is what I like to call a do-ocracy, which means that if you want something done, you do it, right? You don't wait for someone else to do it. You just say, I want this, I'm going to do it. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to write the code, but you have to find someone that is going to help you with that. And the Plone4Artists is the same way. We're no different from Plone in that respect, that the things that you find in Plone4Artists are things that people stepped up and volunteered to do. They said, I really need bulk file upload. So they developed a product to do that. Or I really need transcoding of videos. So they wrote something to do that. So it's very much driven by people's actual needs. And I think that's what makes Plone very unique as a community, is that people are really action-oriented. They want to get things done. The other thing that I've done, which is not necessarily write all the software myself, but I've found projects that need a home. You know, these projects in the collective that are just kind of languishing because no one knows about them, and said, this is a really cool product. You know, do you want to put it in the Plone4Artists namespace, and you know, we'll help promote it, and we'll help find sponsors for it. And so an example of that was Alec Mitchell developed this product for a customer called a P4A video embed, which is the tool I was telling you about that allows you to embed videos on your Plone site from YouTube and Google Video and these other sites. And Alec approached me and said, you know, this really belongs in the P4A namespace because it's a video component, and you already have a video product, so let's put it there. And I said, okay. And since then, we've started adding a bunch of other functionality, added support for more video sites, and extract FLV files, and we're doing a whole bunch of stuff with it. But that product likely would have withered on the vine because it was a one-off project for a customer, and it would have just sat in SVN, and you know, no one really would have known about it. So that's one way you can get developers on board, is to sort of adopt these orphan products and say, hey, come on, you know, we'll help you. Plone Flash Upload is another example of a product that was built for a customer, and it probably wouldn't have got as popular as it had we bundled it with the Plone4Artists product. So when you download the audio and the video products, you get the Flash Upload tool with it. So by bundling these products together, you sort of, you know, you can try out other products that you might not necessarily want to download. And in a way, we sort of blessed these products. We've endorsed them and said, we like that product, we're going to include it in our bundle. And I keep going back to the education because I think the education sector needs to start thinking about bundling. So thinking about, let's make a definitive Plone for Education bundle. Like, these are the faculty, staff directories, CMF bibliography, AT. These different products are things that we all want to come around and say, these are the official products that we as a community, a working group, support. We want these products to be included in the Plone for Education bundle. And that will build consensus. People will start using those products and enhancing them and making them better. So bundling is a good thing. I already talked about sprinting. I don't know much more I have to say about that, other than it's really fun. You know, you get to go out and you work hard, you play hard. I've been to the snow sprints, and it's like extreme programming by night and extreme sports by day. You know, they've had some sprints up on the mountain, you know, where they had like a Honda power generator, you know, hooked up, and you have to take a toboggan like up the mountain to get to the sprint location, and like really extreme stuff. And they've done sprints out like on, well, one of the sprints, the very first one I was at was the Castle Sprint in Austria, and one of the Plone developers, his name is Philip Ausberg. He actually is an Austrian prince, and he decided he wanted to have a sprint, so he invited a bunch of people to come to his castle and have a sprint there. So I strongly recommend getting involved in sprints, because it's a really great really great opportunity to learn about Plone, to meet other people. You learn more in 5 days than you learn the entire year of sitting by yourself at your desk. Joanna?
I heard that we were going to be having some sprints here. If I want to participate, how do I sign up?
How do you sign up? You just show up. Yeah, we're having a sprint this weekend, Friday through Sunday, and everyone's invited. Just show up, and Joanna will have lots and lots of things for you to do, right? Yeah, she'll put you to work.